I'm going to introduce two pupils now. For you guys, come over here. You're going to take the hot seat, introduce yourselves. We've got some questions from various schools around the country, and Sir Robin will answer those questions. In the meantime, because we do have 22 minutes, if your school does have a question, please put it in the chat, and I will try and get Sir Robin to answer those questions if possible. Handing over to the stars of the show. No pressure. There's about 1,000 people watching. Come and grab a seat here. They want to see you. Shall I get you another chair? Yeah. Make sure you introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, I'm Oscar.
A bit louder. You need to go right close, 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 close. Guys, can you hear Oscar? Say that again.
Hi, I'm Oscar.
And I'm Mia. Bristleton School, in Mrs. Shaw's class, and then year 5, they said Android or Apple.
So the answer is both, and even more than that. So ARM is in every Android phone, every Apple phone, every Amazon phone, every Huawei phone. So ARM is actually in all of them. And the reason why this is possible, what I'd like you to think about in terms of what ARM is, you know, in a car, you have an engine, right? And you have different size engines. So what ARM actually does, it designs digital engines, small ones, big ones, whatever. And we've created the most popular engine on the planet that just about every electronics company on the planet is using ARM technology. So that's the good news.
They've also said, where do you see mobile phones in the future?
So what I think what is actually going to happen is I think we're going to go into an area of wearable devices. So you've probably already seen people have got glasses now that actually, and again, some of the startups I'm involved in, one of them is called Plessy. They're making things called micro LEDs. So I think the phone of the future, you won't pick it out of your pocket. You'll be actually wearing it, you'll be talking to it, and you'll be communicating through it.
Yes.
Warren Primary School, Mr Kitchener in ZH. What did your parents want you to do as a child?
So the good news is my parents didn't want me to, they wanted me to do what I wanted to do. So they didn't tell me what to do. They encouraged me to follow my passions. And I think that's really useful because you do have a lot of parents who tell their kids to do things that they don't want. You probably noticed the artist David Hockney. If you look at most people who have achieved amazing things, quite often they've done what was not recommended to them by their parents. And so my starting point would be, yes, people can give you advice on what makes you money or what might make you happy, but I think within your inner self, if you can find what you really love doing, that's likely to make you a happier person.
E.T. has said, if you could do another job, what would it be?
Well, one of my favorite hobbies is skiing. I actually set myself a goal to ski one more day per year until I die. So probably I would have been a ski teacher.
Horndon Hill Primary. In Miss Matthews' class, Molly in year 6 has said, what is your most proudest moment?
So in all honesty, I am most happy when I help other people deliver more than they expect to do. So basically when somebody is stuck, if I can help them unstick themselves, that's I think the most satisfying.
Paige in year 6 has said, what makes technology special?
So I don't think technology is special, to be honest with you. Human beings are actually quite fortunate because we have brains and we're connected and we have some thinking ability more than animals. But actually, if I look outside of the wonderful world we live in, and the sad, unfortunate situation is we're not treating the world very well at the moment. We've got challenges with climate change, etc. So I see technology as a tool to improve the quality of human life. So again, one of the things I'm most happy about with ARM is how people are using the technology in deprived communities to make their lives better. I'm pleased that ARM is being used to fix some health problems and so on. So basically improving the quality of life. But I personally don't think technology is special.
No.
St John's Primary School in Tiverton. Mrs Bell, Amelia. Do you own a yacht or a plane?
So do I what?
Own a yacht or a plane?
No.
Lydia. Do you own a really grand house with a plane?
Swimming
No.
pool.
Sorry? Do I have a house with a swimming pool? So the good news is, yes, I do have a house with a swimming pool. But what I should explain to you, this is the benefit of making enough money to afford such a house. The house we have used to be a rectory, which is where the vicar lived. It's actually very, very old. It's built in 1831. And since I believe in staying fit and keeping fit, and I do swim every day, I've built a swimming pool. And that's a privilege I have, and I'm very lucky to do that.
Joss asked, what car do you have?
So the car that I actually drive is a Jaguar XKR, but the bad news is that's not very good for the planet. So the car we mainly use is a Tesla, which is an electric vehicle, which is more, and when we drive up and down to Liverpool, we drive up and down in the Tesla, but occasionally I get my Jaguar out and do less miles in it. I should also say, by the way, my favorite form of transport is actually a bicycle, because then I can cycle to the local places and stay fit.
Yeah. Canterbury School in Gran Canaria. Miss Halford's class has said, what was your first computer?
My first computer was actually, it was called a Dragon computer. It was a 32-bit machine, and it was based on the Tandy TRS-80. And the reason why I got it, is because it used Motorola chips, and Dragon actually gave me the computer. This was before the PC, by the way.
What does your chip do?
So I think I explained early. So ARM is supplying. So what's changed? I explained to you early on that the first chips I designed had 50 transistors. Now they have billions of transistors, and basically digital chips. By the way, the first chips I designed were analog chips. This is another bit of technical detail. But as human beings, we're actually more analog than digital. So the digital world needs digital engines that can be used in everything. So they can be used in your car, they can be used in your television sets. And so the best way to think about them is digital engines. What the partners do is they add extra things around these engines to turn them into the particular products, whether that's a phone, whether that's an engine controller, whether that's a game or whatever. So ARM basically is the footprint for digital engines along the planet. The other thing I would say about, we talk about hardware, which is the engine, but all of these chips require software, and it's software that actually makes things, gives the personality to those chips. And so by creating a standard, we've created a standard software platform, and actually the software is more important than the hardware. Sorry if that's a bit too technical, but I'm sure some of you will get it.
That's it.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much.
Well done with the questions.
That was excellent.
Excellent, good work.
So Robin, if you could take the hot seat again, we have got some more questions. Well done, guys. Do you want to stick around, or do you want to go back to class? Perfect. Right. They see you clearly. I think they can. Okay. So I'll read out a few questions that we've got from, well, we've got lots and lots of questions here. So I am going to have to be selective. There was one question that really struck out, but I can't find it. It was about the essential skills. Apologies, I can't remember which school it was, but we had a slide earlier where we looked at some essential skills. The question was, do you have to have all of these essential skills that you see on your screen, Sir Robin?
So I think the answer is no. So to be a successful engineer, there are lots of lots of different types of engineering, right? And so, and I am a past president of the Institution of Engineering and Technology, which includes civil, all the different types of engineering, not just electronic. So what I would say is that to be a successful engineer, I think you need to be able to solve problems. Engineers look at things and say, I told you about my radio and TV repair business. So I think scientists might think about inventing new technology and coming up with crazy ideas, but I think primarily a key engineering skill set is problem solving. I think another key engineering skill set that is needed is teamwork. I explained to you how in my youth it was 50 transistors and I could do it on my own. In today's world, we need teams and we need to be able to work and understand each other. Now, if you're an inventing type engineer, innovation is important. If you're looking, so basically all of these things come in, but fundamentally, I think problem solving and teamwork are must-haves to be a successful engineer.
Thank you. Another question from Miss Feeney Perryman. Do you still live in Chesterfield?
No. So I left Chesterfield at the age of 18 and I moved to Liverpool University from the age of 18 till 21. And then after I graduated in Liverpool, I moved south to actually Chiswick. The colour television design company I worked for was in Chiswick. When we were first married, we lived quite near to here, near Wanstead. And then we lived in Kent. And then we moved to High Wycombe, and we've lived in the High Wycombe area since about 1974. But the other thing about me is I've never stopped travelling. I explained about the long haul flights, and today, since we're still Liverpool football supporters and we have season tickets holders, I'm moving up and down the M6 a lot. I also spend a lot of time in Switzerland because my biggest hobby is skiing, so that's where I go to ski. And then again, because of my connections to the world, I'm spending a lot of time these days in Bangalore. 2 weeks ago I was in Barcelona, so I'm sort of permanently traveling really. And in my old age, I'm giving keynote addresses at technology conferences.
Got another question from the Canterbury School in Gran Canaria. What is your favourite app?
My favorite app. So it actually would be, it's not on a phone, it's actually Logic Pro. So in my old age, my son, by the way, he has a degree in music and technology. And when he won Battles of the Bands at 15, I was actually building his amplifiers. I've actually started writing lyrics and doing song, and I'm in a band with my son. So for me personally, in our latest song, there's actually a video on this as well. None of us were in the same room. We're all exchanging WAV files and we put the songs together. So that's my favorite app.
All right, this is a borderline. This is from Mrs. Darlid. But Zabdiel said, what is your net worth?
Right now, I don't know, but it's low tens of millions of dollars, I think. But the truth is, you probably notice the world is blowing up at the moment, and one of the things that's slightly worrying, it's going down. What I would say to you, that, again, this is my honest opinion, there was a time when I was in the Sunday Times rich list, and I was worth a lot more money, and I'm actually a lot happier with less money but enough money. And the other thing you probably know is we do quite a lot with charities. So again, this particular thing we're doing now, when we're backing up the AIT, I actually gave them some money to help fund doing the program. So I think it's nice to make some money. I don't think you want to make too much money. I recommend you getting enough to survive, and hopefully enough money that you can spread it around and do something useful, and hopefully not run out of money.
Thank you. Question from Miss Rouse at Doddinghurst. Out of all the things you have made, what took the longest?
Good question. So the answer is, so in the early days, when you've only got 50 transistors, you could do that in a couple of years. To create the success of the ARM business model took about 8 years. If you look at the world today of highly complicated things, it takes a lot longer. So the reality today, to develop really amazing, outstanding technology, takes about 20 years. And usually there's a lot of hard slog and hard work. And what happens is the media only notices this about 2 years before you come out with a device. And the other thing about engineering, you need to fail in order to succeed. So when you build your first circuit, there's something wrong with it. And engineering is about iteration and changing and trying things and adjusting. So the idea of fast money, I think is fake. Maybe you can make fast money out of making a hit single or something like that. And we talk about engineering. If we look at medical applications, they take it even longer. So engineering is more about hard work, failure, starting again, having another go than it is about instant success. So what I would say to you is, if you are not prepared to work hard and you don't have tenacity, I'd really recommend you not to get involved in engineering.
Question from Miss Shaw. What is your favourite part of your career?
Honestly and truthfully, all of them. Well, I say all of them. It's more like what was the worst part of my career. When I worked from Henderson, I had a bullying boss who nearly killed me. But what I realized looking back is that experience of putting up with such a tough person at an early age, made me stronger. So apart from my 2 years with Henderson, where in all honesty, he was giving me 3 out of 10 performance and telling me everything I was doing wrong, just about every day of my working life I thoroughly enjoyed.
And Charlie from Arthur Bugler in Miss McGoldrick's class. Apologies, because there is no order. They are quite random. How many chips are made a day? And I'm assuming that's at ARM, but that would have changed.
So the answer is, if you go to ARM's website, it will tell you there's a lot of chips every made 10 seconds. So if you actually go to ARM's, because I retired in 2007 and the numbers have been increasing exponentially, I don't have the latest numbers, but you'll find it's a lot of chips every 10 seconds, but I can't remember. I think last year it was more than 50 billion ARM chips were made, but I haven't, and the numbers are still ramping up. So just go to the ARM website and that will tell you that. And since I've retired, it's going up even faster. And that's, by the way, because more and more people are using the ARM chips, more and people are programming every day. So when something becomes a standard, it really takes off.
Thank you. S Gaines, what's your favourite thing you've created? Have you ever, that's 2 questions, but let's go with the first one. What's your favourite thing you've created?
So this is a true story that gave me the most satisfaction. So I told you that my son was in a band at the age 15 and he won Battle of the Bands. And the Marshall amplifier basically used bipolar transistors. And if you shorted the speakers, you blew the transistors up. And I changed, when my son was 15, I changed those transistors to MOSFETs. It's a different type of technology, and you could short them, and it didn't blow up. And my son looked at me and went, "Wow, Dad, that's really impressive." So what I'm actually saying is, something that makes your son happy is actually more important than all the other stuff that's going on.
From the same person, have you ever been injured while engineering? Maybe an electric shock or something?
Yes. So the worst injury I had, this is when I was at university. So when I was at university, I built these valve amplifiers, thermionic valves. By the way, most kids don't know what thermionic valves are, so please to the teachers to tell them about them. Basically, this valve amplifiers building had a 400-volt supply line on it, and it was falling over and it was about to break. I grabbed hold of it. I cut my wrist here, actually got a cut, and the 400 volts seized the cut, so there was no blood. And by the way, when I was designing color televisions, I used to get 25,000 volt shots all the time. What I recommend to all of you for safety, by the way, is always keep your left hand in your pocket and don't touch anything, because your heart is this side of your body. And if you get a shock on the right, you're more likely to stay alive.
Thank you. Probably a couple of more questions. N. Allison, a little bit different. Who is your favourite football player?
So there are many. So I love Mo Salah. So he's probably my most famous football player right now that I really love about the guy, because he's not over egotistical. He's very relaxed. He's a great team guy. I also love Steven Gerrard. And by the way, my wife's favourite football player is Steve McManaman. And again, to show a bit of I respect other teams as well. Like Declan Rice scored a pretty good goal for England at the weekend, even though it was disallowed because Harry Kane was offside. So I respect good things, whether that's art, whether that's football, whether that's anything. I respect people who overachieve, but I also want them to be polite and not arrogant. And so I'm not going to say this on a public line, but some of the more arrogant football players, I'm not very fond of them.
Mrs. Livingston from Arthur Bugler is asking, what is your favourite website?
I haven't got a favorite website. So for me personally, I do a search on Google. So for me, I'm looking for some information and I do a search. And when I find something that's factual and accurate, I'm very relieved, because what I find is when I do my searches, unfortunately, there's a lot of garbage there, and I'd say there's garbage on every website. So for me, it's finding the quality information. And what I actually find is, the way I find it, I ask an expert on the subject to point me at the best website, which is why I actually prefer human beings to artificial intelligence. Despite the hype of artificial intelligence is not very intelligent at all. It hallucinates, and it doesn't actually have any consciousness, and it only understands what it's been programmed to understand, or programmed itself to understand. So again, this is the other thing about human nature and technology. We hype up the new technology like it's going to solve all the world's problems. The reality is, with every piece of technology, there are some things it does well, and there are some things it doesn't. And again, I heard a Nobel Prize winner speak about this, talking about what is consciousness. So, and the reality is, all these machines are not conscious, and we don't actually understand what consciousness is. So I have a lot of hope for the human race. I don't think the machines are going to take over.
Right, Sir Robin, thank you so much. There's one more question, but the answer needs to be just one word. Okay, the question is, and again, I'm going to go back to you guys. It's from Miss Shaw in Christleton School. Android or Apple?
Apple.
Oh, no. On that note, ladies and gents, thank you so much. I'm Android all day long, but I hope you've enjoyed that.
But variety is the spice of life. There
Variety.
isn't one right answer.
There isn't. But yeah, let's just say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much. You've been amazing. Teachers, if your microphones are working, it'll be great to hear you say goodbye. I will be sending a feedback link out. That would be amazing, just to get some feedback from you all.
The other thing I'd like to do, I'd like to thank all the hardworking teachers. I had some hardworking teachers who helped me. And what I would actually say, if this can work, if there are other questions, and you can feed them in through Ravi, I'm happy to try and answer them online.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Sir Robin. And thank you very much to AIT. Please do register with AIT, teachers and pupils. So Google Archives of IT, and I will be sending the links out to teachers along with the feedback. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.